Hey, what it do? What it do? What it do? It's Husk out here, man. Tune in, get your popcorn ready, get your beverage of choice ready. About to listen to the Husk Out High School Sports Show podcast, man. Informative. You know it's gonna be great coaching, great players, and great commentary. Sit back, enjoy it. Husk Out. Peace. What it do? What it do? What it do? It's Husk Out back again for the Husk Out High School Sports Show podcast. This one, man, we got a head coach, a track guru from Lancaster, Texas. This is head coach Leon Paul. Coaches, you're going to want to really listen to this one. He coached under Coach Samples at Duncanville. Get your notepad, get your coffee, get your popcorn, listen in, and be sure to like, share, support, and donate to the show. Peace.
Excuse me. Now
Hey, what it do is Hood Scout, man. Welcome back to the Hood Scout High School Sports Podcast. I got a great coach. I got a speed guru. I got a guy that's really just an up and coming in the coaching world joining me today, and very very grateful, very very thankful for him joining me. Coach, without further ado, introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are and where you from.
Man, I'm Coach Leon Paul. I'm originally from Fort Worth, but I'm the head football coach and assistant athletic director here at Lancaster High School.
Okay, I like to unbreak it and unpack it, Coach. So talk to me about growing up. When did you first get introduced to ball?
Man, growing up, man, my dad he put me in football. I played for the Edgecliff Packers. We was the worst team in all of Fort Worth. We lost every game, but he put me on that team, to kind of teach me how to put the team on my back. And I think that was one of the best things that could have happened.
So got a little horn back there. Was that the bell, Coach?
Yeah, man, that's the bell.
Okay. So you started playing at what? Eighth grade, seventh grade, elementary?
No, I started playing like when I was like 6 or 7 years old.
Okay. And walk me through the high school and all that.
Yeah, and then I played at Everman Junior High. Ninth grade, I played at Everman High School. Then I transferred to Arlington High.
Okay. What was your playing career like? What did you play?
I played corner. I started out at running back and corner. Then when I went to Arlington High, I strictly played defense. Then I played in college. I played corner as well.
Walk me back through as a young man. What was that high school experience like if you can remember?
It was it it's kind of hard to explain. One of the things I didn't want to leave Everman.
Okay.
I had to leave Everman. It was out of my control. But the class that I was with at Everman was a class that won back-to-back state championships. So all the friends that I grew up with, I saw them holding up trophies, and I always wished that it could have been me. And then when I played at Arlington High, we lost the game before state to Southlake, and then Southlake went on to win the state championship. So in football, I've never been a part of that atmosphere. So it kind of drives me to get a part of the atmosphere. I coached in 2 state championship games, but unfortunately, we didn't come back with the trophy.
Okay. And then college. Where did you go to college and what was that like?
I went to Oklahoma Panhandle State. At that time, it was Division II, and it was very humbling because most people think that if you don't go D1, you're not going to play good football. Man, I played against some guys that played in the NFL. We also played against some FCS schools like Texas State. And, we played against, some very good Division II school, West Texas A&M. We played against Pitt State. So we played at a very high level of football. And it was a humbling moment because, I'm a city kid, and I went out there to Panhandle State, not just to play football, but to get my education. And I made sure that I did that.
What did you major in, Coach?
I majored in kinesiology.
Okay. So during college, did you already know you wanted to be a coach, or did that come afterwards?
No, so a funny story. In college, it's myself as a starting corner, and then I had one of my close friends. He was a starting corner. Well, I tore my hamstring. So with me tearing my hamstring, I knew I was going to be out for about 5 weeks. Where my head coach told me, if I want to be an unselfish captain, because I was captain at the time, I need to coach up my backup. So when he's on the field, it's not a big drop off. So I was coaching him up. I was teaching him all the techniques that I played with. So whenever I came off my injury, I automatically got my spot back, but he took the other starting corner spot. So it was me and him starting. So after our first game together as a two starting cornerbacks, he was just like, man, hey, real talk, like you probably need to coach. And I was just like, for real? And he was just like, yeah, and it stuck with me, and now I'm here.
Now, for y'all that don't know, or maybe listening out of town, I know Coach Power brother, and I remember Steven, man, telling me that you were pretty good, man. What, like, at that, what would you, looking back, what lessons did you learn playing college ball, or what would you tell yourself looking back doing that experience now that you're older and probably wiser?
Uh, I would say never think that you're better than what you are. I got up to college, and I was a pretty good football player, and I got up to college, and I just assumed that since I was from the Dallas area and I was playing against all these guys from these little small cities, uh, that I was going to automatically start, and that's not how it happened. And but I'm glad it didn't happen that way because I had to work hard, and every year coach would bring in these 6-foot JUCO corners, and I would have to fight for my spot year after year after year. And I went through 3 coaching changes in college, so I had to fight for my spot year after year. So it just helped me overcome adversity. But if I had to tell myself, something, it would be you need to humble yourself and stay hungry.
What was your niche as a corner? I guess you can be that people could say you're undersized. Was you that you was aggressive, speed? Like what was your niche as a corner?
Speed and aggression, but mostly speed. I had the type of speed that I can bait a quarterback to throw a ball. I can bait him to throw in any ball that I want out. The wide receiver would look open into the balls in the air. Sometimes it helped me, sometimes it hurt me, but most of the time it helped me.
Okay, so you get out of college. Was it pretty easy to land that first coaching job?
No.
Okay. Now walk me through that. Let's talk about that. How was that like?
So when I first got out of college, I worked at the airport.
Okay.
I got my degree. I came back. I moved in with moms. I worked at the airport. Well, I had to be at the airport at 10 o'clock every morning, but I knew high schools around the area were going to be doing their summer workouts probably around 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. So every morning I would wake up, I would go, I would put on my shirt and my tie, and I would just go up to a high school. I would go up with my resume. I would sit down and talk to the coach, ask him if I can talk about football. And I did that. And after about a month and a half, I had about 5 job offers. But it was one that stood out to me, and it was South Grand Prairie. Coach Davis, he started me at the varsity defensive backs coach. And that varsity title, it just helped out a lot because I started at a very high level, and then I stayed there.
Now, coach, is that rare to start new as a coach on varsity? Is that pretty rare?
I don't know. Most people would tell me I had to start at a junior high, or I had to start as a 9th grade coach and work my way up. I never believed in that. I always believed that. I had something to bring to the table. I always believed I had high ambition, and you're not going to tell me what I got to do in my life. I'm the only person that can dictate that with the help of God. You know what I mean? So you can't tell me what I got to do, or it's not realistic.
Well, walk me through that. South Grand Prairie. How old were you? What was that experience like? And kind of walk me through those few years. How long were you there?
I was there for 2 years. I was 22 years old,
okay.
Fresh out of college, and I remember the first practice. I was out there at practice. I had my hands in my pocket.
Okay.
It was new to me. I was hearing all these coaches coach and getting on kids. I didn't know any of the kids. I had my hands in my pocket. And Coach Davies looked at me. He said, at that time I was getting paid like $55,000. I thought I was won a lottery. It was just like, I'm not paying you $55,000 to stand here with your hands in your pocket. As soon as he said that, like it just a light bulb went off, and I just started getting after it. And that same energy that I had back then in 2008, I still got it now.
That's a blessing, coach. I think that's a blessing. I think God was on your life just to, not saying that was rich, but to be that young, making that salary, coaching, that was a blessing. So what little lessons did you learn there? What little lessons did you learn at Grand Prairie? Well, South Grand Prairie, I think you said.
Yeah, South Grand Prairie. Yeah, you got to get that right because they
my bad, y'all.
South Grand Prairie, that's 2 different.
Yeah, that is. It is
real personal about that. But no, The lesson that I learned, and I still talk to a lot of those guys today, Dwayne Peace, all those guys that I coach back there. Coaching is not about X's and O's.
Okay.
I learned that at a very early age. Coaching is about impacting young men to be better than what they are. If you know X's and O's, that's great, but you can always learn X's and O's. But what you do as a calling is something that comes from within. And when you can have those relationships from when you first started to now, it just means that you was actually there for a real purpose and not just to win a couple of games. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I learned that at a very early age.
So you're there 2 years. What's the stop after you leave South Grand Prairie?
After there, I go to Crowley. My high school coach actually got a head coaching job in Crowley. He saw I was working at South Grand Prairie, asked me if I would come along with him. And to me, it was a no-brainer. Coach Chris James, he helped me a lot in my life. So if I can come help him, I would. He let me come. I was a varsity wide receivers coach over there.
Would you say was there any difference between Crowley and South Grand Prairie?
Yes.
Well,
The level of talent at South Grand Prairie, we probably had maybe like on that team. This is real talk. On that team at South Grand Prairie, we had probably about 15 Division I athletes in just one senior class, not even the younger class. And then at Crowley, we maybe had like two. So the level of talent from 5A at the time, 5A was the highest, to 4A was a lot different. Those kids at the 4A level had to work a lot harder than those kids at 5A because they just wasn't gifted athletically like those kids at South Grand Prairie.
Did that impact your coaching, or even though the talent was different, did that impact your coaching, or not really?
No, it helped my coaching.
Okay.
It helped my coaching because I had to be better as a coach to make sure that those kids were still playing at the level of competition that those kids at South Grand Prairie played at. Though the kids that take football serious, they bleed football, they cry football, they breathe football. Those kids go out and get like personal trainers and stuff like that. Those kids at Crowley, we was all that they had. So I had to make sure that I did my job as a coach, making sure I'm on YouTube, making sure that I'm talking to college coaches, getting different type of drills that I can give to them so I can mold them into those type of players.
Mm-hmm. So you're there now. Were you coaching track and field at Crowley, Coach?
I was.
Okay, let's talk to me about that.
South Grand Prairie and at Crowley. So South Grand Prairie, I was girls track coach, assistant, and at Crowley, I was a girls assistant, and that's probably one of the best things to me. Coach Lisa Reed was the head coach, and Lisa did not want me on her staff at first because I was a football coach, and there was this. It's still today. A lot of women track programs don't want men coaches because they don't treat their sport like it's as important as football. So she didn't want me at all. But after she saw me coach for maybe 1 or 2 days, she was just like, man, this guy here, he's different. She told a couple of people that, and I told her, I don't have a second sport. I'm a coach. Whether it's football, whether it's track, I'm gonna treat them one and the same because my job here is again not to win games and win track meets, it's to impact lives, and that's what I did. So
okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Now, was track and field something that was in your past, Coach? Like, did you run track coming up?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. But I didn't know that track was going to do as much for me in my career as it did, and it's one of them things, man. If any young coach out there, man, if you have an opportunity to run your own program, take advantage of it and run it like it's the program that you want to run in the future. Like with me, I was a head track coach for 9 years. And for those 9 years, I treated my track program like I'm treating my football program now. And I put my heart and soul into it. I prepared hiring. I prepared with practices. I had a practice schedule for my track practices. I had a recruiting coordinator for track. I had an associate head coach, had sprints coach, all that type of stuff that I did for track. It got me prepared to be in this seat. And I think that that's one of the reasons why, my first year in, we was pretty successful. Not as successful as I wanted us to be, but I'm not going to complain about winning 10 games.
Yeah. So, what's a lesson that you learned coaching track? I mean, everybody talk about football. We hear, lessons on football. Like, what's kind of a nuance in track that maybe the outside world don't know?
The thing I love about track is one of the most competitive sports that there is, because you have to go out there and compete. If you don't compete, you get beat.
Mm-hmm.
And it teaches mental toughness. Uh, there's some people that are very good in sports, and some people very good in football, but won't run track because they're scared to fail.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Track teaches you how to handle failure and get yourself better, and put yourself in a position to be successful. And that's why I made sure all the football players ran track. Yes, we got faster. With me, when people run track, it's just like the same as lifting weights. You're only going to get stronger if you keep lifting. The more you lift, the more strength you're going to get. Well, the same thing with reps and running. If taught properly, you're going to get faster. But the main lesson is, if you're not the fastest, yes, you're going to go out there and you're going to fail. You're going to get beat. Now, how are you going to handle that? And how are you going to push yourself the next week in practice to get yourself better towards the end of the season? Now we're coming and we're victorious.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things I love about track, man.
Is working out physically for track the same as football, or is it a different? Okay, what's the difference, Coach?
It is entirely different. In track, I got to be careful when I say this.
Okay.
In track, it's more mentally than anything, because you're the only person that has to make those times in track practice. You have to pick yourself up when you're dead tired and get another rep. There's not 11 other guys that's coming to you picking you up. Or, if you're not successful, it's your fault. You can't blame that on the linebacker that didn't go B gap, or you can't blame that on the safety. It was supposed to be cover 2 and he's playing cover 1. Now somebody's wide open over the top. No, if something happens, it's your fault. So you have to take complete ownership when you have one lane, instead of on the football field. If you make a mistake, somebody else can make up for your mistake on football. In track, if you make a mistake, you just lost.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a nugget. So you're at Crowley. How long were you at Crowley, Coach?
I was at Crowley. Well, I actually went to Crowley twice. I was at Crowley the first time for 2 years.
Okay, and then what's that stop after Crowley?
Then I was at Kennedale.
Okay, that's a pretty storied program.
Yeah, so Kennedale was the first program that gave me the chance to be a head coach. And so in 2013 was my first year of being a head track coach. I coached the secondary at Kennedale, varsity secondary, but then I was a head track coach. And I think that is where I kind of got my name, I guess you could say, because we was able to win a state championship in track at Kennedale. And yes, it was a 3A program, but we was running 5A times. So and with a group of kids that we did it with, these group of kids shouldn't have been running as fast as they was, but they believed in everything that we brought to the table as a staff. They bought in, and they was running some of the nation's fastest times.
Wow. That's good. So you're at Kennedale. Great. Let me ask you this, Coach. How old were you at that time?
Ooh, how old was I? I think 26.
26. How did you grow at that time? What was your ways of growth as a coach?
I had to grow up fast because I had no idea what I was doing. You know what I mean? I didn't know about all the paperwork that went behind it. I didn't know about the budgets. I didn't know about, transportation. I didn't know about booster clubs. I didn't know about any of that. I just knew how to coach. So with that, I thank God that I was put in that position because it taught me a lot of the stuff that I have to do now as a head football coach and assistant athletic director, as far as paperwork, as far as deadlines, as far as everything like that. Because if anything happens, me learning that at an early age, if anything happens in your program, it's on you as a head coach. So luckily, I learned pretty quick.
Okay, so where did you go out to Kennedale?
After Kennedy, I went back to Crowley as the offensive coordinator, and then I was the head girls track coach now at Crowley.